Bonjour, everybody. Hi, this is Neshi Lilkatz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page and to the morning card draw live stream information that has become more like a spiritual roundtable. In fact, as I was saying bonjour, which is Potawatomi for hello, I was going to say bonjour peeps because I tend to call the people in our community, in Star Nation's community, peeps, because they're my peeps. I fit in with these peeps. You always try to gravitate toward the people that you feel comfortable with, right? And so these are my peeps. Yes. Good morning, Elise, and good morning, Marianne. It's good to have you ladies with me this morning. It is Monday, July 30th. July 30th. I know. Blink of an eye, right? July has gone by very quickly. And I say this almost every morning. It's beautiful here. It is. It's like 73 degrees out, no humidity. The sun's out. You can't get any better than that. If I had any complaints at all, it would be because it's hard to weed the garden because it's kind of dry. I need to either water or hope the rain comes like tonight or tomorrow. Yeah, it's been that long between rains. Today, I'm back. I took yesterday off, sorta. I didn't do a live stream yesterday morning. Paul was able to take care of the mid-morning and lunch preparations so that I could sleep in. I did get up and help Mom with her early morning preparations, getting ready for the day and her breakfast, and then I went back to bed and slept for 2.5 hours. So it was great. I loved it. And good morning, Mary Sakowitz and Nellie, Mervyn Kelly. Good morning, people. My peeps. So yesterday afternoon, I was working on the magazine, on the August issue of Star Nations magazine, and finishing up the preparation of the articles and the images or pictures that go with each of the articles. And so last night around, it's probably around 10 or 10:30, I was putting the final touches on. And so that piece is done and sent over to Elf Elm. Good afternoon. Mervyn Kelly lives in England. And so it's afternoon over there. And you know what? Mervyn is one of our live stream show hosts here on Star Nations Radio Network, right here on Facebook. And the name of his show is from Stone to Stone. See, I shouldn't take a day off because it messes up with the memory system. Either that or my body just doesn't know what it's like to have extra sleep. From Star to Stone. That's it. That, and I haven't had any caffeine yet. Not this morning. I have it sitting right here. Right here. Yeah, it's been quite a morning. Shower morning for Mom, which is always a kind of a busy one. And it's everybody has those morning ritual kind of things, right? Certain days of the week and that sort of thing. And then layer on top of the usual Monday morning is Paul, my husband, is sick. He's got the flu. Who gets the flu in the middle of the summer? I can't remember the last time the guy was sick. He actually had to call into work, and he hasn't done that in so long, I can't even remember. It's got to be at least a couple of decades. Yeah. Hi, Jackie. So glad you're with us. Yeah, that's right, Kelly. And Mervyn, that's right. Hello, coffee, my old friend. Actually, what I have here is black tea. Because I was too lazy to make another pot of coffee. I made a small pot for Mom this morning, and she had both cups, and so that's all right. It's not bad tea, though. It's not quite Earl Grey. I don't think I used Earl Grey when I brewed this one. It could have been English morning. I think that's what it is. It's pretty good. All right, so here's the thing. I had decided on Saturday that maybe it was time for us to switch out card decks. because we were using the Sacred Path cards by Jamie Sams since the beginning of May. And I wanted to kind of change things up a bit. And so when I went downstairs and took a look at the different divination cards that I have, and asking my spiritual team, which deck should we use for a while? And this is the one that came up, and it's the Sacred Geometry Oracle deck by Francine Hart. And I've had this since early 2000s. The copyright on it is 2001, and I think I bought it like in 2002. It was pretty early. And I remember being at I think it was a goddess retreat, if I remember right, because I was teaching a segment and I also had a booth there. I think I taught 2 different classes, and I had my booth, and this had brand new, had just come out, and I hadn't seen anything like it before. Doesn't mean that there wasn't other sacred geometry decks out there. I just hadn't seen any. And it was right around the time that I had studied with Maureen St. Germain to activate my Merkaba. And so it was early in that time frame when I was I don't want to say studying. I was absorbing. It was like a sponge. Anything and everything I could get my hands on that was sacred geometry. Now, mind you, in school, elementary and high school, I was okay with math, but I was not like excelling in it. I had to work for the grades that I got in my math classes. And so when I first, found the term sacred geometry, is like, oh my God, do I really want to go back to geometry? Jeez, I don't think so. Oh, Elisa is saying that Earl Grey is her favorite. Yeah, mine too. I like to have it brewed and drink at room temperature or even cold, kind of like an iced tea kind of thing. So I do like that. One of my favorites. It's either that or coffee, because it's got just about as much caffeine. All right. So when I first got this book, there was a reason why I went to find out more about sacred geometry. It was during a time frame of my spiritual growth that I was looking at my belief systems, and it was hard. I'm not going to lie. It's like sometimes it was very emotionally painful. It was mentally taxing. And because I had to look at what I call mainstream Western culture, and also the Native American culture, the culture that I grew up in, because I kind of walked 2 worlds for a very, very, very long time. And so there, to the point where there were times where the way I communicated, the way I spoke, and the body language that goes with certain speech, right? A lot of people don't slow down to think about this stuff, but I did at the time, because I had made 2 mistakes that were quite the learning lessons about communication. And when I was looking at my belief systems, right, is that I was speaking to a Ho-Chunk elder. Actually, I wasn't speaking. They were speaking to me. And it was an older lady, and I made eye contact with her and was asking her questions. That's not really how you're supposed to address elders. You can glance at them, at their face, and into their eyes, but to stare into their eyes it's disrespectful. And and to you can ask a question here or there, but not to barrage them with questions. Holy smokes. But she was kind enough about it, but it wasn't until later that I realized, because my mom had mentioned something to me, and I thought, yeah, but that's what they train you to do in school. When you're trying to find out information, you're trying to understand something, right? And in the Western culture, if you don't look somebody in the eye, they think that you're lying or deceitful or something. And so to look somebody in the eye in that culture was a good thing. Not to was not so good, and not asking questions was not so good. So you can kind of see the dilemma or the dichotomy of the situation. And so it was a good thing that way back then in the early 2000s that I took the time to really examine my belief system. And that included my religious beliefs. And I realized that a lot of things that I thought I knew about a Protestant religion and a more traditional Native American religion wasn't really wasn't at the root. Okay. And I wanted to get to the root of a belief. And lo and behold, what dropped into my lap was sacred geometry. And I learned that through that lens, that filter, I could get to the root of creation. Now, granted, it is probably, somebody could say it's just another creation story, which is a fact, because there's many. It's just this particular creation story is really about a unified field. Okay. And so I thought, all right, well, we're going to start using these cards for as long as it feels comfortable. And maybe in this spiritual conversation, we'll be able to tap into something together. Okay. We're saying sacred geometry is cool. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so I did my usual morning thing, asking my team for assistance. And they did give it to me. But first they wanted me to share with you what Francine has written in her book about her oracle deck. And I have to say, back in the 2000s, they used really good paper in this in this book. From a publishing standpoint, it's thick pages. I like it. So Francine writes, the joining of art and sacred geometry offers a bridge between the right and left brain, between intuition and hard science, between the dimensions of time and space, and a view of the universe as a multidimensional interconnected whole. And when I read that this morning, I thought, oh my gosh, brought back a lot of good memories about my early studies of sacred geometry. And in one sentence, she brought it all together. So it's the bridge between the right and left brain, between intuition and science, between the dimensions of time and space, and a view of the universe as a multi-dimensional interconnected whole. And at the time when I was researching and looking for the root, right, go to the very, very beginning source. And for me, that was the sacred geometry. Yeah. And so I had to, I remember asking, what is sacred geometry? What the heck is it? And I like Francine's reply to that question. She says, sacred geometry is an ancient science, a sacred language, and a key to understanding the way the universe is designed. In the study, it is a study of shape and form, wave and vibration, and moving beyond third dimension reality. And it is said that sacred geometry is in the sixth dimension. And so when we're studying it, talking about it, having our thoughts go to it, we automatically start tapping into that sixth dimension. Okay. So one of the things I know about this from past experience is we do it in small doses. And if you start feeling a little tired and a little fatigued, okay, chances are that could be, especially in this discussion, in our exchange of information and conversation, that I'm going to say could be, all right, because there's other variables there that I'm not aware of, could be because of what we're discussing. Its vibration is found in the sixth dimension. And some of the things that I know that help: caffeine, peppermint, lemon, and making sure that you are all pulled together in the present moment. So grounded and centered. Yeah. So if you're feeling like that, just take a couple deep breaths and really connect to grandmother and grandfather sky, and you'll be fine. You know, it's just to recognize it, notice it if it happens. All right. It might not happen at all, because this is an entirely different vibrational field to talk about this than I've taught in a long, long time. At least 3 years. 3 years. So things may have shifted. All right, so she goes on to write that it is a new science of compassion. It's the language of creation, which exists as the foundation of all matter, and it's the vehicle of spirit. It's been called the blueprint of all creation, the harmonic configuration of the soul. It's also been called the divine rhythm, which results in a manifest existence. So it's known for its creation, okay? And it's known for the Merkaba is all about sacred geometry. And our light body, called the Merkaba, is our ascension vehicle. That's what they call, why they say that it's a vehicle of spirit. She also says, often termed the language of light, sacred geometry has the ability to balance human energy fields and contains a complex informational system that can be used to access healing and growth in many dimensions. Sacred geometry has reemerged as a tool to aid in our movement toward conscious evolution. And it is that evolution that back in the early 2000s, it was like chocolate. it was the I want to say it for, and this is going to sound weird, it was like the bait that I took to understand soul growth, soul evolution, and it became my foundation of where I found the root. And that's just me personally. It may or may not happen for you, and if it doesn't, that's okay. It's all right. But you may get some information that is useful to your soul growth. And yeah, all right. So when I asked my team to help me to show me the energy that we needed to know about today for our highest good, 2 cards came, and I thought, oh, okay, sacred geometry could be a little in depth. Hey, Maggie Wade, thanks for joining us. Oh, and Rob's in the house too. Hey, Rob. The I thought 2 cards. Wow. Okay. Well, if we're going to jump in, let's jump in, right? And as I was opening the book to read about the first card, well, the page I opened to was talks about the kind of card spreads that you can do that was the section, but the particular page was about, it's called the balancing spreads. Okay, the first one is a simple balancing you require. Choose 2 cards. It's about balancing the yin and yang, or the male and female, and that the card on the left is the female. The intuitive feelings, it's yin and Mother Earth. The male is on the right. Rational, thought, yang, and Father Sky. And so when the cards literally jumped out, they landed on the floor. And the card on the right was this card. That's the flower of life. That's like the big medicine in sacred geometry, the flower of life. Now, if you look at the image, you see circles, overlapping circles, right? And there's 19 of them, surrounded by a band of 2 lines. 19 circles. So it expands out from the center and goes out to 19. But this card is about creation. In the center of it, this is the creation of all life. In the center of it is the seed of life, which is part of Metatron's cube. And within that are the 5 platonic solids. And it's those platonic solids that are the building blocks of all life. Do you remember when we were doing the cards for Sacred Path? And there was a card that was called Field of Plenty. And that was about manifestation. And it was, in that card, it talked about the void, and where all things spring from and are formless, and that our thoughts, our desires, our prayers to bring something into the physical world goes to the field of plenty. This is the field of plenty. The flower of life. It's about creation. Interesting, isn't it? Nellie said, this is a great little video about sacred geometry. I know. I love the spirit of science. I found Spirit of Science. It wasn't too long ago. It was like in 2010, I think it was 2010. It was the first time I saw Patch Man. If you haven't seen those videos, thank you, Nellie, for sharing that link. I can't even remember. There's like 34, I think, different videos. And it goes for everything from the sacred geometry to ascension to chakras they cover a lot of things. And they're very good. I like them. I think there's another, Mervyn, if you could check this out. There is a Spirit of Science Central dot. I don't know if it's .com or .org, but it has more in there because a few years ago, they got hacked bad. And the young man who started the Spirit of Science created a new website. And so it's called the Spirit of Science Central. I think it's .com. So anyway, if you could take a quick look at that, if you can, that would be helpful too, because there's other items on that particular website. They do have all of the videos, but there's other items on that one. And I'm trying to remember his name. he actually studied with my teacher, Drenville Melchizedek, and based the Spirit of Science off from the Flower of Life, Volume 1 and Volume 2. The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life by Drenville Melchizedek, Volumes 1 and 2. That is what the young man based his information on. And Rob is saying, "Hi, doing month end reporting." Oh, yay! Aren't you glad that you are listening to something fun and while you're doing something not so fun? Yeah. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about this card and why it's important for us to have this information today. All right. So the Flower of Life card is called the Language of Silence and Language of Light. Francine writes that most universal pieces of sacred geometry is available to us. This figure is found flash burned into granite walls of the Osiris, the Temple of Resurrection in Abydos, Egypt. It's actually found on the very, very back wall in that Temple of Resurrection in Abydos. It's a symbol that is found all over the world. They say 18 different countries, but this was written in 2001, so there's probably even more than that. It's an ancient symbol about the creation of life. For instance, it's found in Turkey, Tibet, China, and the Yucatan. The Flower of Life has imprinted its wisdom upon humankind. It represents pure life force, containing our cellular memory, and it becomes the matrix of all matter because of the Platonic solids. And they're in Metronon's cube, and it is the building blocks of all life. She says that you're asked to imagine this pattern existing as a three-dimensional holographic image made up of 19 interlocking spheres. Okay, so those circles are part of the geometry, all right? I don't know. All right. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm getting the nudge to do it. So the circle was the first form made by the prime creator, the great mystery. Okay, not God, but the energy or the being that created God. All right, the great mystery. The prime creator. And the prime creator, this is the creation story. The prime creator wanted to understand or experience relationship. That's what we call it. Interaction. And this being had two dots, and he connected the two dots, or she connected the two dots. It's genderless, okay? Connected the two dots with this line and studied that for a long, long time. And then this being spun this line, Okay, I'm going to do it this way. Spun the line and spun it so fast that that one dot that's on the outside, remember it's connected to only one single line, spun it so fast that that one single dot on the outside looked like another line. And what it created was this round shape called a circle. And that was studied for a very long time. Now remember, the intention was to experience relationship, to experience interaction. And so this being created another straight line, same length, spun that one until the circle shape was formed. And then what the entity did was merge the two circles. Okay, merged the two, moved them toward each other until they started to overlap. And when they overlapped, in the overlap was a burst of light. And it's called the vesica piscis. It's where we get the term, let there be light. And it was the coming together of those two circles that created an interaction, a movement. And so basically, the prime creator wanted to experience movement, a relationship, to experience what that was. And when in that experience, when they brought the two circles together, experience that spark of light. So when you look at this image, look at all those circles overlapping that look like a flower petal, sort of. All those little vesica piscis, flower of life. That's why it's about creation. Hey, Tony's here. Good morning, Tony. Do you have tea or coffee with you, Tony? That's the usual question here at the Spiritual Roundtable. What kind of caffeine are we drinking this morning? So Francine, in her study of the flower of life, she says that it's an Akashic information system, meaning it contains records of all that was, all that is, and all that will be. The messages it offers are both intimately personal and universal. She says that trust that what comes to you is of the light and meant to be of assistance in achieving your highest good. As the blueprint for all creation, the flower of life will always have something new to teach you. And in her card deck, there are reversed cards, contrary cards sometimes they're called, but this one does not come as a contrary. Because even if it came as a contrary, if it was upside down, it'd be the same. So this particular form of sacred geometry is beyond time and space. Well, it all is sacred geometry. But this particular image is what brings us to unity. Because everything in creation is found in this particular form. Ain't that cool? Yeah. And behind it, do you see the form behind it, those images behind? Texture. Kind of looks like a honeycomb in a way. Yeah, that's a dodecahedron shape. And the dodecahedron is one of the Platonic solids. It represents ether or spirit. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So this is a very powerful symbol. It's a very powerful shape. It's what we call big medicine because it has so much information in it. Maggie's saying, I'm drinking special tea. I sprained my ankle Friday working on here. Aw, that hurts, doesn't it? If it's just, just a minor sprain, it still takes time for it to heal. Or if you did injury to the ligament, it's going to take a little while more for it to heal. But I'm glad you're taking some time to allow it to heal. You have your foot up, right? And working with the swelling. Well, Poor Maggie. Okay, you didn't tell us what you were doing to sprain it. You're just saying that you sprained it. It was reread your message. All right, so this was on the right-hand side, which is when I brought the cards up, it was the card on the right-hand side, which means that it was in the position of the male energy. Okay, it's about thought. It's yang or yang. This is the second card that came. And this is the Expanded Sri Yantra. Let's see if I can get that. And she calls this freedom. Freedom. The Sri Yantra is known as a Tantra card. Tantric. Yeah. It's about creation. And she says that the Tantric Sri Yantra moves beyond the boundaries created by the ancient symbol. Moving like a spacecraft over open water, the symbol becomes one of freedom and liberation. So she says, open your arms and embrace the light of your inner being. Know that you have always had choice, and that the choice you may be needing most is the freedom to be who you are, not someone the world expects you to be. She says, it brings you to a place of greater joy and freedom. Okay. So in the creation, and she's saying that this is a light of your inner being. Know that you've always had choices, and that the choice you may be needing most is the freedom to be who you really are, and not what the world expects you to be. That makes sense? Now you put that together with the other card, and it's about creation. And when I was talking to my spiritual team about it, it's about, okay, so when we're talking tantric, we're talking about the sacral chakra, right? And in the old way of activating your Merkaba, there was a point in the meditation where you had to imagine that there was a ball of light sitting in your dantian, which is right here. You know, it's between your sacral and your solar plexus. And it was the orange color. It was orange and bright like the sun. It's your inner light, your creative energy. And in that old way of activating your Merkaba, we literally, with our will, we had to intend to move that ball of light up to our heart. Had to move it up. And so that's why she's writing about it in the form of freedom and being who you really are, who you came here to be. And when we do that, there is a sense of freedom to be who we really are. And when I was looking at the flower of life and thinking that it's, you know, in my classes we call that symbol big medicine. But this card was on the left, which means that it was in the female position, and that is about emotion. Right? And so this is the part where I get very happy with this, because when I first started studying sacred geometry, remember I was looking for the root. Wasn't necessarily a human-made kind of experience through religion, I was looking for the root of creation. And when we do this kind of work and we're looking at the balance between the male and the female energies, for me, if we go to the medicine wheel, for us this morning, I want to make sure I keep my place here. All right, so this particular card, this is the Flower of Life. This was thought, and it was on the male side of the draw. And when we put where's thought on the medicine wheel, it's on the east. Spirit of air, spirit of thought. This was on the left, the male. I'm sorry, the female. It's about emotion, and on the medicine wheel, it's in the west. Water, emotion. And so for me, when I look at this, I also think of, do this separate, the other way around. I look at this and I say that this is the freedom that we're looking for coming through the Sri Yantra, has to do with the balancing of our head and our heart. Head of our heart, which puts us right in our high heart, our soul place, and how we can not just sense, but be the being that we came here to be. Does that make sense? To be. Oh my gosh. Maggie is saying major 2 to 3 weeks. Yes, I have it. Oh, good. Loading things into my truck and stepped off the curb wrong. Oh my goodness. I guess you were supposed to slow down for a while, huh? Kind of a painful way to do it. But maybe that was what did they say? The universe's way of telling us to slow down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I took yesterday morning, and not did a live stream. I was taking my own advice. I was slowing down just a little bit. All right, so the Sri Yantra card can come as a reversed. And if it was reversed, she's saying, ask your heart the answer. You must act in accordance with what your emotional body requires and take responsibility for the outcome. Only you can decide what is appropriate and the right action. Okay. But this was not in the contrary. This came up upright. So, sacred geometry. This is our first step into it together. So just kind of sit with that information just for a while and see how the day unfolds for you. Where's the information about the flower of life, the creation card? How does that flow to you today? How does the day unfold? How does it reveal itself? Same way with the Sri Yantra card. And take what resonates with you. Okay, what felt good would say, yeah, that feels right to me. Or you just couldn't get enough of seeing either one of those images. Yeah, and just take what resonates with you and grab onto it for today and see how it unfolds, what the information was meant for you today. If it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. No problem. Maybe it's just not for you. Possibly we just planted some seeds, or maybe you're a messenger. Maybe you know somebody who might enjoy the information or has been looking for some information about sacred geometry, and you get to pass it on to them, right? That would be like being a witness to the energy. If you're a direct participant, then you get to experience both of these energies and the balancing of the energies of male and female, right? The yin and yang of the energy. Yeah. So with that, we're ending a little bit early because I have a business call at 11 that I have to get prepared for. We're taking the next step to be able to, how do I want to say this? Do I want to say expand? It's the next move for Star Nations. And so we're at the very, very preliminary stuff. This is something that I started working on a while ago. So I figured the Mercury retrograde energy would be good to take my second run at this and see if it's a good fit or not. So good prayers send my way for this next step for Star Nations, for that business call. Maggie, I hope you feel better, that your ankle heals well and soon, right? And so I appreciate everybody joining me this morning. I appreciate it. And we're going to do this again tomorrow morning. We'll see what sacred geometry brings for us tomorrow, the energy of it, that light language of sacred geometry. So enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow for the next card draw, okay? So Bama Mina, until we see each other again.